We are looking at Crimil's Dagger. This is an iron banner hand cannon, and it has just now returned to us here in year 2. We're going to go over the rolls that are on this weapon today, what the TTK value is of this weapon, and which rolls you should be looking for. So first up, the roll that you see here today, shout out to Sandkiller for letting us get on his account. This one actually comes with kill clip. Reloading after a kill grants increased damage. We'll touch up on those damage values here in just a second. The other trait is threat detector. Increased reload, stability, and handling when enemies are in close proximity. Not an ideal perk for a 110 round per minute hand cannon, considering you're going to want to put distance between you and your enemy and really just focus on landing crits, and that's kind of a difficult thing to do if you have a bunch of enemies around you. Now, the magazine perk that we're utilizing today is Drop Mag. Magazine drops on reload, wasting ammunition but greatly increasing reload speed. This magazine perk is actually not a terrible option for PvP, considering you're normally always going to have ammo on you, and Drop Mag pairs somewhat decently well there with kill clip. It does increase that reload speed pretty good. The sight that we're utilizing today is True Sight. We do have a plus 10 range masterwork, and something that I just wanted to try on this 110 round per minute hand cannon, I had heard that this mod actually does pretty good, is Sprint Grip. Temporarily increases the weapon's ready speed and aim down sight speed after sprinting. Now, I have not actually tested this out to see how many frames it speeds it up by, but that was the mod that we chose today, and it seemed to be doing a little bit of something in terms of that ADS speed when coming out of your sprint. Now let's talk time to kill and damage values for this weapon. Overall, guys, the stats on this gun are not that bad. The one that you're looking at today actually has 76 range with that masterwork, 33 stability. The handling though is still poor at 33. Aim assist is 67, and that reload speed is 59 because of Drop Mag. Now when we compare this to something like Duke, because I think that's probably the most popular 110 right now, is the Duke MK44 hand cannon. Duke has slightly better range, slightly better stability, better reload speed, better handling, a little less aim assist, and a little less recoil direction, but one extra bullet there in the magazine. So all around, Duke looks like a more solid weapon, which is why whenever they announced that Crimil's Dagger was coming back, I was like, hey man, I've got Duke, I'm just fine. Crimil's though has some kind of funky hit registration. It can land some crits, boys. Which takes us to our time to kill for these weapons. 110 round per minute hand cannons have the worst TTK value in the game. At 2 crits, 1 body shot, you can kill any Guardian in 1.07 seconds. Whew, that's hot, man. Too fast. I don't even think we could keep up with that speed. No, but really, that's pretty awful. Which is why, to really make these weapons shine for you, I feel like you're going to need some heavy damage dealing perks. So for something like Kill Clip, you can expect to see your time to kill drop somewhere between 0.53 and 0.55 seconds. Now that's fast. Like that 1.07, that looks terrible, right? And you will have to fight through that. You will have to get a kill with that time to kill in order to take advantage of that nearly half a second TTK value, which is not that hard if you adopt the playstyle that 110s are trying to promote. By no means are they meta, but they are the most dominant hand cannon when it comes to the peak game. When it comes to you just peeking in and out of cover and just landing devastating amounts of damage, 110s are nasty. Now let's talk about the rolls that you can get. A lot of different options here that we can go with, but obviously we want to go with some damage perks. As you can see here, Rampage is not present, which really limits our options in terms of picking damage dealing perks. So for PvP, obviously this last column would need to be Kill Clip. Now in that second traits column, I'm going to say, guys, Rangefinder is the route that I would go here. You can do a lot of things you want, but Rangefinder activating on this gun, extending that range a little more, keeping yourself out of that damage fall off zone, because a lot of times we associate these 110s as reaching that optimal time to kill of 1.07 seconds at 2 crits and 1 body shot. But most Guardians are not rocking more than 5 resilience. And so if you can kind of pull back away from that damage fall off, land 2 body shots and a crit, 9 times out of 10, you'll put those Guardians down. It's when damage fall off is coming into play that these 110s are going to have to start 2 critting 1 body shot. So I want Rangefinder in that first column right there. Now, for this column, if you're going to be rocking something like Kill Clip and you don't want to deal with a slow reload, Drop Mag is not a bad option. It does greatly increase that reload speed. Yes, you do waste ammo, but the idea here is to get Kill Clip activated as quickly as we can. Now, that's the heavy damage dealing weapon. That's the weapon that we are going to be choosing if we want to always be reaching that 0.5 second time to kill or nearly that. The other perks that I'm curious to see on Crimil's Dagger is timed payload and explosive payload. Both of those. They're both in the same column, but I want to see how they react here with Crimil's. Now, we had a 110 back in year 1 that had timed payload. I think it was called True Prophecy. I used it maybe once or twice to get a review out on it, but I have not used it since these hand cannons have been buffed. And in Forsaken, all of our hand cannons got a buff. So I'm curious to see how timed payload plays out on Crimil's Dagger, as well as explosive payload, because Duke MK44 cannot roll with either of those perks. Now that's my curious roll. If I was gonna go for the roll just to maintain that 1 crit 2 body shot at all times, I would be curious to try Aztecross rounds, rangefinder, and Zen moment. And she would be like my old faithful roll, considering you'll have a ginormous amount of range with Aztecross and rangefinder. Pairing that up with Zen moment to keep your weapon stable, that one's pretty interesting. Now for something like PvE, I don't know how many people actually used 110s in PvE. I know here lately, Kindle Orchid has kind of like taken its place for many of my other hand cannons in PvE, especially if you can rock something out like threat level. So I feel like it's going to be really hard for any 110 round per minute hand cannon to replace those hand cannons. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.